I'm not concerned about anything. If I was concerned, I wouldn't be here talking to you. I work out every day. I don't go all out right there. But it's escalating as time goes on. By the time July 20th comes, I'll be peaked.
Mike Tyson has just spoken out after his medical emergency. Just before the Jake Paul fight, Tyson experienced a medical issue on Sunday while flying from Miami to Los Angeles. The 57-year-old heavyweight champion started feeling queasy and lightheaded, prompting flight attendants to inquire about the presence of a doctor on board. In order to offer support, paramedics embarked on the plane in Los Angeles after it had been delayed by 2 hours in Miami due to the scorching heat to administer treatment. Just 2 months remain till the legendary boxer squares up with YouTuber-turned-boxer Jake Paul in Arlington. Thankfully, Mr. Tyson is doing great. His representatives told the New York Post he became nauseous and dizzy due to an ulcer flare-up 30 minutes before landing. The representative added he is appreciative to the medical staff that were there to help him. An ulcer flare-up typically presents with nausea, vomiting, bloating, belching, gas pain, lethargy, and chest pain. Tyson, who openly acknowledged his daily marijuana use in the past, has abstained from it during his training for the Paul fight, as it falls under the list of prohibited substances outlined by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. He also disclosed that as part of his training regimen, he had temporarily given up sleeping with his partner. His publicist, Joanne Mignano, recently told USA Today Sports he only stopped as a means of following all of the rules, but he is still a strong advocate for the medicinal benefits of cannabis for his personal well-being and others like him. Tyson's fight with Jake Paul has drawn criticism recently, largely due to the significant age difference between the two fighters. "I don't see too many people critical about it. Look at this," Tyson said at a press conference earlier this month. When a reporter suggested there were critics, Tyson said, "Who? Name me somebody." "You." "Who?" The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation has approved the fight to be conducted as a professional bout, with the duration set at 8 rounds, each lasting 2 minutes, instead of the usual 10 or 12 rounds lasting 3 minutes each. Punch power is expected to be lessened because the gloves weigh 14 ounces as opposed to 10. Tyson stepped away from professional boxing in 2005, yet made a comeback with an exhibition match in November 2020 against Roy Jones Jr. in California. However, it wasn't officially recognized as a professional bout. The questions and the scene generally infuriated Tyson, especially when he was asked what it meant to have an opportunity to fill AT&T Stadium. He said, "I was doing this years ago, so this is nothing new to me. This is new to this young boy over here." However, the latest development has sent shockwaves through the fighting community, adding to existing dissatisfaction over the age gap. Chael Sonnen, a renowned figure in UFC history, has injected skepticism into the anticipated clash. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Sonnen highlighted Tyson's precarious position, suggesting that if he were to withdraw, it would hardly raise any eyebrows. Sonnen said, "This fight is still over a month away. One has nothing to do with the other." Okay, fair enough. If you're Mike Tyson, put yourself in his shoes, telling the story of how I can beat this young kid in his 20s, while I couldn't even get up and leave an airplane. I had somebody come onto the airplane. Whatever the reason, I could not stand up and get off of an airplane. Sonnen further remarked that, in terms of public relations, Mike Tyson is in an excellent position. He noted that Tyson has a built-in excuse that every fighter looks for, and in the realm of PR, Tyson currently has the world at his feet. He reiterated that Tyson could not be in a better spot. He added, "You couldn't be in a better spot. You could not possibly have a better spot. For one, the built-in excuse which every fighter looks for. Although the bout is probably in its doldrums at the moment, Jake Paul thinks that Tyson would never turn down a fight, despite his physical issues." The revelation sent shockwaves not just through the combat sports realm, but resonated globally among those tuned into the anticipated match. Even the divisive figure in the sport, Ryan Garcia, expressed interest in filling the void should the bout falter. However, the problem child remains steadfast, confident that the showdown will proceed as planned. Addressing the uproar, he asserted nothing has changed. The YouTuber Turner Boxer claimed that the fight will happen, as the representative of Mike Tyson has not said anything, said Jake Paul. "Don't listen to every Twitter news article. Me and Mike are fighting on July 20th. Everyone is trying to do everything they can to hurt this fight and attack me. You should know about that. However, the human mind is a playground for inventive ideas." Among the myriad speculations that emerged, one caught the attention of fans and followers alike. With uncertainty looming over Tyson's participation, a proposal was floated. Yet, judging by the overwhelming sentiment expressed in the comments, it seems most fans are not inclined towards entertaining such alternatives. A crossover boxing handle said, "If Mike Tyson is forced to pull out of his fight versus Jake Paul, Paul, could we see a montage unfurled on the screen, capturing a flurry of tweets echoing concerns about Mike Tyson's recent health scare? As the Tyson-Paul fight poster flickered into view, the ambient strains of the motivational anthem "Not Over Yet" set the tone. Yet, amidst the sequence, the visage of KSI began to seamlessly weave in, gradually supplanting Tyson's presence. Culminating in a striking finale, a simple yet profound message materialized. It only makes sense. What's the deal with KSI? Why not Tommy Fury? Sure, Tyson Fury's sibling has already squared off against Jake Paul, but the feud between the problem child and the British YouTube sensation remains unresolved. That's why a showdown between them promises a thrilling spectacle. If Mike Tyson indeed can't step into the ring, could KSI and Paul still salvage their match? The odds seem stacked against it. Firstly, there's the weight gap to consider. The problem child and Tyson are slated for a heavyweight showdown. Tyson has disclosed he's tipping the scales at approximately 230 pounds, while KSI, in his last bout against Tommy Fury, weighed in around 181 pounds. Beyond that, the crux lies in the inadequate time for preparation. The fight notice would simply be too brief. For KSI to adequately gear up, the general sentiment hinted at dissent towards the proposal. The rationales echoed familiar arguments. Yet, amidst the skepticism, a handful of eager individuals found the prospect rather exhilarating. Dylan Dennis recently took to social media to unveil a snapshot featuring Mike Tyson, seated in a wheelchair, subtly hinting at the passage of time. While the image may be dated, it serves as a poignant reminder that Tyson's health is on a downward trajectory. The iconic boxing legend has been grappling with various health issues, undergoing treatments to address them. However, Mike Tyson has now broken his silence after his recent health issue. Tyson tweeted, "Now feeling 100% even though I don't need to beat Jake Paul." This tweet not only highlights his improved health, but also his confidence in an upcoming bout with social media sensation and professional boxer Jake Paul. Tyson's message comes after a period of concern over his well-being, during which old photos of him in a wheelchair resurfaced online, causing a stir among his supporters and the media. The images led to speculations and worries about his ability to compete, especially given his age and the physical toll that years in the ring have taken on him. However, it appears that Joe Rogan is concerned about Mike Tyson because he thinks the great boxer could suffer significant harm from Jake Paul.
In a different way, right? Let's not imagine that Mike Tyson is fighting Jake Paul. Let's imagine Mike Tyson is fighting some young, like really powerful knockout artist who
always was long dudes that had a good jab later in his career when he wasn't moving his head anymore. So I don't know if Jake can keep Mike off with his jab.
Joe Rogan has notably expressed worries about the potential for a tragic outcome involving Mike Tyson during his highly anticipated clash with Jake Paul. The vast age difference between the two pugilists stirred up considerable frenzy among boxing enthusiasts upon the fight's announcement. When Tyson and Paul step into the ring together, Tyson will be a staggering 31 years senior to Paul. Prior to the fight being formally sanctioned as a professional match, Rogan vocalized concerns regarding the grim possibility of such a scenario unfolding. In a recent installment of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Joe brought up an intriguing point about the uncertain fate of the fight's approval. At that time, potential protests loomed large, casting doubt on whether the bout would indeed be sanctioned. However, fast forward a few weeks, and we can confirm that the fight has now secured official approval. But, circling back, Tyson emphasized the gravity of the situation, highlighting the looming specter of potential repercussions. He underlined the weighty concerns that would arise should he sustain serious injury or worse, meet his demise in the ring.
Like, that's crazy.
if Tyson dies, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. See, if you have something like that, if you have, look, if
That'd
this,
be the end of the
right.
Yeah, that'd be the end of that
Let's-
experiment.
Let's imagine it in a different way, right? Let's not imagine that Mike Tyson is fighting Jake Paul. Let's imagine Mike Tyson is fighting some young, like really powerful knockout artist who's
Although Rogan expresses sincere concerns for Tyson's well-being, he isn't ruling out the possibility of Iron Mike staging a comeback and landing a decisive blow against Paul. The UFC commentator contemplates that even if Tyson could regain just 70% of his past physical prowess, it would present a formidable obstacle for Paul, especially given Tyson's apparent enduring strength, evident from his recent bag work.
a contender.
probably.
Well, guess what? Jake Paul could be that guy if we didn't think of him as Jake Paul. If you look at the people he knocks dead, when he knocked dead Tyron Woodley with one punch, that dude
I was
can
there.
Crack.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so like that's what I'm saying, exactly what you're saying. We don't want to give him credit because it's Jake Paul.
Exactly.
But we gotta wake up and realize that he's still 27, young, and for the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, he's had the
training
best
consistently.
coaches working with him one-on-one. Now,
With probably 90% of the power. 70% of the physical ability and 90% of the power, because the power's not gone. You see it when he hits a bag.
Yeah, he's still got the power.
Rogan pointed out Tyson's historical health challenges, such as battling severe sciatica, which forced him to use a cane for walking. Nevertheless, Rogan recognized the transformative potential of cutting-edge treatments like stem cell therapy, indicating Tyson was probably undergoing elite-level medical care. Even at the age of 57, Rogan marveled at Tyson's ability to command significant earnings if he maintained fitness and shape, a prospect they found utterly remarkable.
I'm sure he's with the right people. Like, even at 57, you can make a lot of money if Mike Tyson's fit and in shape, which is so crazy to say. It's just weird that we're even talking about it.
100%.
That the fucking guy from Disney is going to fight Mike Tyson, the YouTube kid.
Yeah, I know.
mean, and the path to beat Mike.
Teddy Atlas, once a mentor to Tyson in the legendary era under Cus D'Amato's tutelage, finds himself skeptical. Despite the Texas Boxing Commission's official nod, the substantial age chasm between Tyson, now seasoned at 57, and his 27-year-old adversary, Paul, is hard to ignore. Adding to the intrigue are the unorthodox regulations governing the match, prompting Atlas to ponder the bout's credibility. In a groundbreaking twist, the upcoming showdown between Tyson and Paul is poised to showcase an unconventional format. 8 rounds, with each round spanning a mere 2 minutes, a striking departure from the traditional 3-minute duration. Adding to the anticipation, both fighters have chosen to don heavier 14-ounce gloves instead of the usual 10-ounce regulation gloves, injecting an extra element of intrigue into the highly anticipated event. In a statement released yesterday, Most Valuable Promotions co-founder Nakisa Badarian said Tyson and Paul signed on to fight each other with the desire to do so in a sanctioned professional fight. That would have a definitive outcome. Over the past 6 weeks, MVP has worked with its partners to satisfy the requirements of the TDLR to sanction Paul vs. Tyson, and we are grateful that we have gotten to this point. The recent adjustments to the rules have stirred up quite a buzz within the professional boxing community, leading prominent commentator Teddy Atlas to question the credibility of the match in his latest YouTube analysis.
I mean, not just me, right? Or Ken, right? We have company, right?
Disqualified, knocking out the
I just
opponent.
thought it was a good way to break the ice here with the show to start off. And the other rules are 8 2-minute rounds, not 3-minute rounds, 2-minute rounds, and 14-ounce gloves, not 10-ounce gloves. Normally pro fights are 10-ounce gloves, and no headgear, which is normal for, a pro fight. Here's my question. How do you call it a professional fight if the rules you're using are not professional rules?
While Teddy Atlas expresses skepticism, it's evident that the impending bout is set to etch its narrative into the rich tapestry of combat sports lore. The imminent clash between Tyson and Paul holds the promise of becoming a seminal moment in both fighters' journeys. Nonetheless, Atlas raises a pertinent query about its classification as a professional encounter when the rules deviate from the norm. There's a lingering apprehension that this event might be more about financial gain than sporting integrity, with Tyson's involvement posing risks. Due to his advancing years and sparse competitive outings of late.
Maybe they're in the non-binary category, given that it's 8 2-minute rounds. I'm sure the women will be happy to see someone stepping down to the shorter rounds.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, Ken. All I know is I'm really not trying to be, to pick at anything. I'm just putting the news out there, and I'm breaking it down as is our way of doing things on this show. You're calling it a professional fight. We didn't know if it was going to be professional or not. They decided to sanction it as a professional fight in Texas. But it's not the professional rules of a professional fight. It's not 3-minute rounds. It's 2-minute rounds. It's not 10-ounce gloves. It's 14-ounce gloves. Yet it's being called professional rule. Look, they could do whatever they want in boxing, right? I mean, as long as money's there, the commission's going to make money. They're going to bring money into the state. Money's going to come into the coffers for everybody.
Jake Paul has carved out a reputation for himself by diving into high-stakes boxing bouts against former UFC titans, all within the spotlight of widely viewed pay-per-view spectacles. Among his conquests stand household names like Anderson Silva, Tyron Woodley, Nate Diaz, and Ben Askren. Along his path, he's fearlessly thrown down the gauntlet to numerous other other fighters, stoking the flames of his imposing legacy. In the tumultuous landscape of MMA, Michael Bisping stands out as one of the most formidable opponents. As a former middleweight world champion, he doesn't shy away from stirring up excitement before fights. With absolute certainty, the British fighter insists that victory for Paul in this showdown is nothing but a distant fantasy. At most, he suggests, Paul might land a knockout blow against a seasoned legend, far removed from their glory days. Bisping joked during an episode of his Believe You Me podcast, "If Jake Paul loses, listen, it's Mike Tyson, but still come on. He's 58 years old, but stop it. If you lose, never show your face again. Then if Jake Paul knocks out a 58-year-old man, that's called elderly abuse. You can't win here anything other than a lot of money," Bisping pointed out. The often overlooked intensity of 2-minute rounds, stressing that those unfamiliar with boxing or combat sports might underestimate their duration. He shared his perspective that despite being 58 years old and with rounds lasting only 2 minutes, Mike Tyson would likely still feel fatigued after completing 3 rounds. Bisping added, "It's only 2 minutes per round, but if you've never boxed or fought, you underestimate how long 2 minutes is. Mike Tyson, yeah, he's 58, and the rounds are only 2 minutes long. I think he's still going to get tired after 3 rounds." Bisping keenly noted Jake Paul's tendency to expose massive vulnerabilities in his fights, emphasizing the stark contrast between Paul's opponents and someone of Mike Tyson's caliber. Reflecting on Paul's match against Nate Diaz, he pointed out that while Paul did go the distance and secured a win, it wasn't without its challenges. Yet Bisping was quick to add that his remarks weren't meant as criticism, but rather as recognition of Paul's stature as both a formidable competitor and a cultural phenomenon. He said, "That said, Jake Paul leaves tremendously massive openings, and he's never fought anyone like Mike Tyson. He went the distance with Nate Diaz, he beat Nate Diaz, and I'm not on him because he's great, a cult icon." Frank Warren, the boxing promoter, has vociferously condemned the sanctioning of the Paul versus Tyson bout as a legitimate boxing event. Attendees at a recent gathering in Virginia were awestruck by Tyson's sculpted six-pack and impressive physique. Following the fight's confirmation, the former professional boxer has been unveiling a plethora of training glimpses as he prepares for his showdown with the YouTube sensation. The seasoned ring warrior, aged 57, has been absent from the professional boxing scene since 2005. Yet, an unforgettable moment occurred in 2020 when he engaged in an exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr., resulting in a thrilling draw. Warren, celebrated for his role in promoting Tyson Fury, has now offered his seasoned perspective on the upcoming showdown set to unfold in Texas. Speaking to TalkSport ahead of the fight, Warren said, "I'm a big fan of Jake Paul as a promoter and his business partner Nikisa Badarian. They're very smart operators, and they obviously see that this fight will generate public interest and money. The boxing world is abuzz with controversy surrounding the green light given to the upcoming match, leaving Warren utterly flabbergasted by its official endorsement." Warren made it clear that Mike Tyson's participation in bouts is ill-advised, stating it plainly. He voiced astonishment that Texas had granted a fighting license to a 58-year-old, hinting that such a decision could perhaps be more palatable if the event were categorized as an exhibition. Warren added, "But let's get it right. Mike Tyson is 58 years of age, and he shouldn't be fighting. It's as simple as that. If it was an exhibition, you'd get half away with that. But the fact that Texas has licensed the 58-year-old to fight." Warren drove home the point that even a modicum of rationality would unveil the sheer ludicrousness of the scenario. Employing a striking analogy, he equated it to being ensnared in a gridlock on a highway, only to discover that the halt was caused by spectators gawking at a collision. He insinuated that fixating on Tyson's bout at his advanced age mirrored this fruitless and idle preoccupation. According to Warren, what does anybody need to say about that? Anyone with an ounce of brains knows that it is ridiculous. Let's get it right. You can be on a motorway stuck in a traffic jam, and you get to the end of it, and all it is people who have stopped to look at a crash, and that's what this is. Warren delved into his analysis, suggesting that the early stages of the match could showcase what he coined as vintage Mike Tyson, characterized by fierce aggression and formidable punches. He foresaw a shift thereafter, envisioning a scenario where a seasoned 58-year-old would confront a younger adversary in the ring. He added, "What will happen for one round is you're going to get vintage Mike Tyson. He'll come out throwing bombs for one round, and then it'll be a 58-year-old guy in the ring with a younger fella, while Paul grapples with nerves ahead of his showdown with Tyson, having been awed by Tyson's intense training clips. The former boxing champ appears to be pulling out all the stops as the fight draws near. Tyson, nicknamed Iron Mike, will celebrate his 58th birthday before stepping into the ring against the problem child. Yet, a glimpse at his latest training session suggests he's still operating at peak performance, showcasing remarkable speed, power, and agility that defy his age." Paul acknowledges feeling a bit uneasy after watching the clips. The problem child's brother Logan Paul posed the following question during a discussion on the BS with Jake Paul podcast. When you see Mike Tyson hitting those pads, do you get a little nervous? He replied, yeah, it's motivating. I think it is good to carry fear into the ring and with you on a daily basis when you're training because it makes you better. In the midst of it all, Stephen A. Smith, the unreserved voice in American sports journalism and broadcasting, has added his distinct tone to the discussion, questioning the classification of this match as strictly professional. In a recent on-air moment, Smith didn't mince words, voicing his strong dissent regarding the choice to officially recognize their encounter as a professional bout. He said, I'm saddened by it. I'm disgusted by it. I don't like it one bit. The great Mike Tyson, who we all treasure. When are you going to get in the ring with a modern-day reputable fighter who isn't 20-plus years removed from retirement? Amidst the live airing, Smith unleashed a torrent of criticism aimed at Jake Paul's alleged dedication to boxing, particularly questioning his choice to challenge Mike Tyson. Smith contended that if Paul was genuinely serious about boxing, he should be taking on opponents more commensurate with his experience and commitment to the sport. Instead, his argument suggests that Paul's motivation for the match stemmed solely from financial gain, devoid of any authentic ambition for honing his boxing skills. Paul's loss to Tommy Fury, an esteemed figure in the professional boxing realm, bolsters the broadcaster's viewpoint regarding the problem child's journey in the sport. Smith said, Paul keeps telling us how serious he's taking this and how bad he wants it. If it's about you wanting to elevate your level, you gotta get in the ring with somebody of your ilk, your age, your size. Stephen A. Smith, known for his fearless expression of opinions, didn't mince words on the Paul vs. Tyson showdown. Shared on the Art of Dialogue's Twitter handle, a snippet from the Stephen A. Smith Show captures his concerns about Tyson. Smith highlights the impact of age and cautions against unrealistic expectations from fans, reminding them that Tyson may not wield the same dominance he did in his prime.
Let's get to some, I can't believe I'm going to use these words, pro fighting, as in boxing. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, okay? We'll start in the world of boxing, where the fight between this YouTuber, Jake Paul, and the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, will now be sanctioned as a professional fight. As a reminder, Tyson is 57 years old and Jake Paul is 26. That 31-year age gap will be the biggest in the history of professional boxing, which is exactly why it should not be sanctioned as a professional fight. If Mike Tyson, despite his age, had been fighting for years, okay, that would be different. But that is not the case. Mike Tyson has been retired for years. The only thing we've seen Mike Tyson in the last 20 years, we've seen an exhibition against Roy Jones Jr.
Smith emphasized that the Mike Tyson of today differed significantly from the youthful, formidable force witnessed in archival footage. He voiced genuine apprehension for Tyson's safety, earnestly hoping to spare him any harm in the upcoming bout. Smith underscored that his sentiments stemmed purely from a place of care and consideration for Tyson's welfare.
Just saying, how can you sanction this as a pro fight? Now, a lot of people out there think, you know what, Mike Tyson is going to kill him. Mike Tyson, I mean, Jake Paul don't know what he's getting himself into. Yeah, that's possible. Jake Paul is a big boy. He's got power. That is true. But 57 years old is 57 years old. A 31-year age gap is a 31-year age gap. You haven't been fighting. That matters as well. And oh, by the way, conditioning is an issue too. Because Tyson is fine when Tyson is preying upon you.
Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you enjoyed this one.